Hello, friends. Hey, we're live. It's a WOW Facebook forum, and this is your girl Sarah once again. So, please tell your friends that we're live. Today, we are talking about marriage abroad. Abrokyire, marriage abroad. Please, when you come on, kindly share because there is a lot we're going to talk about today. I am live on Facebook. Words of Wisdom, Marriage and Relationship. And I'm also live on Instagram, Sarah Amafo. So you can join me on Instagram as well. So the first person, Samuela, welcome. Anyway, so we're talking about marriage abroad. I, by the grace of God, I'm living in Canada. I'm originally from Ghana. And I have been in Canada for about 6 years now. Oh, 6 years. I think I've been in Canada for 6 years now. I was fortunate to come here with my family. So I had a 3-month baby, and I was fortunate to come to Canada with my husband and my 3-year-old baby. I say I'm fortunate, and later on you might understand why I'm saying I'm fortunate. I'm very fortunate to bring my family along with me. And living in Canada for some time, I have seen things. I have heard things. I have experienced things. And that is why I am sharing this video with you guys, like doing this discussion on marriage abroad. It's not easy marrying abroad, especially if your spouse is not here with you. So all this distance marriage, right? Distance marriage is not easy. So this is going to be like a 3 weeks discussion, okay? So today we're going to basically we're going to start from the premise, just talk about some issues that have been happening abroad with relationships, with marriage. I want to start with this premise that when you travel outside, things are different. Totally different. When I was back in Ghana, and in school we used to learn modernization. I didn't understand it as much as I understand now. And even now in North America, we are no more living in a modernized world. No, now we're living in a post-modernized world. We are living in post-modernization. And what post-modernization means is that we have moved from, those days everything was science, you have to believe science. Now people have moved from that stage and they are more into soul searching, wanting to know the truth. And outside, truth is relative. That means what is truthful to you might not be what is truth to me. Truth is multiplied, or is a multiple concept. Everybody understands truth separately. If you're watching me, we're talking about marriage abroad, and I am trying to explain the whole concept of living outside of your home country. Especially when you travel to Canada, US, blah, blah, blah. It's not your home country, so living outside. We are living in a state of post-modernization. Like back home, I don't know where your home is, but we are also developing, we are also growing into this whole concept of modernization. But I believe we have not reached the point that's outside they are living. It's crazy outside here. This place is like a no man's land. Nobody cares about you, okay? Literally. You are on your own. You do what pleases you. Even with parents, sometimes parents are not able to tell their children that, hey, you can't do this. And it's even worse with all this homosexual, LGBT, it's worse here. So let's say you're coming from Ghana, I'm using Ghana because I'm coming from Ghana, and then you come to this country, and then you realize that you can literally do anything you want. Nobody is there to tell you, hey, don't do this. Or nobody's checking you to say, oh, this thing you did wasn't good at all. No, you're literally on your own. So people move from wherever they are, maybe Africa, Asian country, with a restricted environment. Your parents are there. In Africa or Ghana or Asia, I know there's nothing like you are old. I mean, your parents can still call you and talk to you. They can speak to you like the way you were when you're young. But outside here is different. So you find yourself here and you realize that you're on your own. You can literally do whatever you want. And people come here and then they mess up. Where Ghana will say, Wati chain, cry. They do whatever they want. So if you are traveling outside and you are not grounded, hello Audrey, hi. If you are traveling outside here and you are not grounded, you are not solid, I can promise you that your life might not be the same as you used to have, okay, in your home country. You need to be grounded, you need to be solid before you travel outside. Because there are a lot of temptation here, there are a lot of freedom here that if you don't know how to control it, you will mess up. I'm just going to give you examples and stories that I've heard from people regarding their relationship, regarding their marriage. And then as time goes on, we will dissect them. The first one I want to talk about is a guy who contacted me. So apparently he had a girlfriend in Ghana. Okay, he was in Ghana. He had a girlfriend back in school. They dated for some time. And then the lady traveled outside. So then the lady traveled for some years. They were still in contact. They were still chatting and everything. And then the lady decided that, the lady was in US. She decided that I'm going to come back home and then we get married. Of course, the guy was so excited. My girlfriend is coming home. She came home. They got married. Everything was settled. You know, they're couples. And then the lady had to travel back to US. When she came back, now she wasn't, you know, the conversation wasn't as rampant as it used to be. She wouldn't talk to the guy. The guy was wondering what was happening. After some few months or years, she called the guy back. Anita, welcome. My secretary is in. After some few years, she just sent the husband a message that, I'm sorry, I can't do this marriage thing again. I found somebody in US and I want to marry the person, so let's just quit. And this guy was running nuts. Like, you should see a man crying. So he got in touch with me and he was like, Sarah, this is my situation. I was married to this lady, blah, blah, blah. Now she says that she wants a divorce. In fact, she said she has divorced me. The papers are with her parents. I should go for it and sign. She doesn't want me anymore. What do I do? Of course, I'm like, Masa, she says she doesn't want you again. What will you do? The lady is in US. She says she has found somebody. She's not going to marry you again. Go and sign the divorce paper. What will you do? You have to sign them. But this was heartbreaking because to this man, I have stayed faithful, you know, to you. All these years, you came back, we got married. The hope was that, you know, we work things out. I join you in US. You just call me and tell me, let's divorce. I can tell you that this is happening like on a daily basis. I'm trying to drive your attention somewhere. If you are home, maybe you're in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, wherever you are, and you have somebody, a spouse, living outside, there are a lot of things you need to take note of. And you have to embrace yourself. I'm not being a prophet of doom here, but I want you to know you have to embrace yourself. This is just one of the stories I'm going to tell you. She just called the guy, I'm not coming back again. What will you do? Will you all of a sudden fly back to the US or come to the US? You do even have your papers. You can't do anything. She's not coming back home. They just got divorced like that. Young man who has started life thinking, hey, Kwachi is here, thinking he's found somebody. She just left her. That's just one. Another lady also got in touch with me. So she has been dating this guy for about 6 years. And they had this whole rule of not having sex and everything. They've dated solid 6 years. The guy had the opportunity to travel in the US or UK. And so he traveled. And then the lady was like, after some few months of traveling, this man started asking her for nude pictures. Like, he will call, let's do video. And I'm telling you, with this video calls and things, it's just messing up things. Like, you have no idea what people are doing. Sometimes I tell my husband, I wonder what people are doing with this video calls. It's just messy. So he will call the lady and expect the lady to undress, send him videos, and the lady was like, what is happening to you? We were living in our Ghana peacefully 6 years. We did nothing. Now you travel, and some few months you're asking me to send in nude pictures. Like, what has come over you? And that guy was like, well, that's what I want, blah, 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 blah. So the lady decided that if this is what you insist, let's break up. So she got in touch with me because she was feeling so bad, and I understand. She has dated this man for 6 good years. So she was like, Sarah, was I wrong to call for a breakup? Should I have sent my nude pictures to him? Of course, if you've been following, you know my response. I'm like, I don't know. What's that? Derry, good evening to you. Okay, good evening, Derry. Thanks for joining. Of course, I told the lady that, you know what, if he's asking for something you can't provide, then of course you did the right thing to ask for nude pictures, because you have no idea what he's doing out there to cause him to be asking for your nude picture. So long story short, they had to break up after 6 years just because the guy got admission, traveled outside. I'm going to give you another scenario. Like, I have so many stories. I'm going to give you another scenario. So I know this friend of mine. She traveled. She came to Canada. She had a serious boyfriend back home. Everything was going on well with the relationship and everything. Now they had to decide, where is the relationship going? According to the lady, I love being in Canada. And I will tell you, for most ladies who travel, they don't want to come back home. So for the men, if you have a girlfriend who is traveling outside, you'd better make up your mind that you would, if the opportunity comes, okay, you would join her outside. Because I know very few women who will travel outside and want to come back home. Because I told you about the freedom. I told you about the opportunities. So if you're a woman and you travel outside, the tendency of going back home is like -0. It literally doesn't exist. So this lady traveled, told the guy, her boyfriend, that I believe that I can have the opportunity to stay here and not come back home. Are you willing to join me? I know most guys will just jump right on. Why not? I want to travel too, because I can tell you that about 80 to 95% of everybody living in their home country want to travel. I'm not lying. About 80 to 95%, everybody wants to travel. But to this particular guy, he didn't want to travel. So, I just want you to ask, okay, what will happen to the relationship? At the end of the day, somebody's laughing. At the end of the day, they had to break up because this guy wasn't ready to travel. But it wasn't as easy as, oh, he says he will not come, so let's break up. Because to this lady, she was really into this relationship. Just asking the guy, let's marry, join me in Canada. The guy said, I will not come. So long story short, they had to break up. By God's grace, she had to find somebody else. She found somebody else. She's okay. Hi, Jennifer. I'm so happy you're here. Somebody said, in Ghana, and you don't want to try. I tell you, yeah, some men are so, I don't want to say stubborn, but maybe he felt like, why should she travel and come for me? She should, if she loves me, she should come back home. Hey, who will leave Canada and come back? I don't know, but most people will not do. So that's what the guy did. Long story short, they had to break up. The major issue here is that for most people, so in this case, my friend was willing to go back, but the guy was not willing to join. So that was a legit case. But for most cases, most people travel out here and they forget about their boyfriends back home. I'm even talking about boyfriends, even wives or husbands. And you ask yourself why. So I am just trying to focus more on this one. If you have a serious boyfriend or girlfriend back home and you get the opportunity to travel, please, the fact that you have traveled doesn't mean that the person is no more important or the person is no more good. If you had a serious, like myself, when I was traveling, when I got the opportunity to travel, I wasn't married, okay? But my husband, boyfriend, they was helping me to get my papers. So, to apply for school and everything. When I got the school, or when we were 100 or let me say 95% sure that I was going to get admission. So he told his pastor that, oh, Sarah, hopefully she's going to get admission and travel. Do you know what the pastor said? Immediately, the pastor was like, hey, make sure you marry her before she travels. And I was like, oh, this pastor, because the pastor was like, hey, For most ladies, when they travel outside, they might not come back to you. And I tell you, it's true. I'm not saying I would have done that. I don't know. And I can't trust myself, right? But for the pastor, it's like, make sure you marry her before she travels. Because at least you know that once she's married, it might be hard for her to just break up or call for a divorce. But why did the pastor do that? For most people, when they travel outside, because they come here, land of freedom, they see all these white ladies. Like, you see different women. You think you've seen people back home. Travel and you see people from different countries. Like, you see this Asian women, you see people from Brazil. It's crazy. And when some guys land here and they see these women, these white women, colors, different yellow, black and white, they get confused. And they feel they've gotten the best. So they just automatically break up, thinking that they are here, they are going to get the best. Please, I want to advise you, if you have a serious partner back home and you get the opportunity to travel, go back and marry the person. Especially if you know the person is very good. Because in this town, it's so hard, it's so difficult to find a good person to marry. As I started, morality in this town is like zero. And the culture here, the perception people have, it's crazy. If you travel without having anybody, you're good to go. God may bless you with somebody. But if you had somebody, if you were married, so I know men who came here, they were married. But I tell you, the girlfriends they have, the mess be what? It's not because of papers or anything. They're just having fun. But I also know some friends who traveled here. They had serious girlfriends back home. They went back to marry them. Some had serious boyfriends. They went back, they married them. And they did all they could to bring the person here. You'll get some peace of mind when you have somebody back home and you bring the person here. Please don't get me wrong. This is different from being here and just going back to marry somebody you don't know. And that will be the last thing I'll talk about today. Next week we'll look at a different aspects too. So if you have a serious partner, they are good to you. You've had you've been dating for quite a while. You know this person. It is wise to go back and marry the person and bring the person home. On the other hand, let's say you are living outside, and then some people will say, "Oh, I don't want to marry a white person. I don't want to marry this. I want to go back home and marry." And other people will say, "Oh, I know a friend. You can come back home and marry that person." My warning to you, if you don't know the person, please, it is not wise to just go back home and marry. And I'm going to give you stories about this. I know friends who were here, people recommended boyfriends, girlfriends, wives, husbands to them back home. And they thought they've gotten the best. They had some few conversations on phone, let's say a year, 6 months, and I found the man I want to marry. I found the woman I want to marry. They go back home, they marry this person, bring the person here, and it's worse. The reason why I even started this video, this series, is what a friend told me recently. So there's this lady who lived in Canada, and she's been here for years, doing so well. And it got to a point she was not getting any guy. I told you, this town is hard to get good people. So if you are here and you get a good person to marry, God has really favored you. This lady was in her 30s or whatever, and she wasn't getting any good guy. So her friend was like, "Oh, I have this good guy back home in Ghana. I'll connect you to blah, blah, blah." They started chatting. The guy was like an angel. Of course, who will not be an angel? Like, most of my friends back home in Ghana will be telling me, "Sarah, pay your mommy. Sarah, find a wife for me. Find a wife for me." And I'm like, "Find a wife for you? Do you even know this wife?" Then they're telling me I should find a wife for you just because you want papers. We'll talk about papers next week. So this lady got in touch with this guy. They chatted 1 or 2. She went back home, Ghana, to visit the guy. The guy was like an angel. The way you even talked to the lady and all that. Yeah, thank you, Anita. It is wise to marry the good person you know instead of going to jump into somebody you're not even sure. So this lady went back to Ghana. went to see this guy. You know, it felt as if she has gotten the best. She came back, went back again, they got married. The guy was still nice to her and everything. Could you believe that the guy or the man used the lady's papers to, the lady's documents and details and everything, and he had his own papers in Ghana without the lady's knowledge. Without the lady's knowledge. He did his papers. The lady was here, and then she just got a phone call that the husband is in town, is in Canada. And she was wondering, how did you do your papers without my knowledge? It was later on the guy started apologizing. Oh, I used your details. I'm sorry I didn't tell you, but I wanted to join you, blah, blah, blah. Well, your husband is already here. What will you do? If I tell you what the man is putting the lady through, you'll be amazed. So for him, he just wanted to travel. So my dear ladies, if you are living outside and you find a guy randomly back home, and he's like, I will marry you, blah, blah, then you're in a hurry. You want to go home and go and marry this person. I know another story. It ended so sadly. They were also just dating on phone. Went back to marry. The guy came back, went back home, left the lady and went to marry. After all, he has his documents. What will you do about it? This lady I'm talking to you about is going through hell. Living with this guy who is now in Canada here. And the guy literally insults the lady in her face. Now you have 2 children with this man. What will you do? But the mistake is that you hardly knew him. Talking on phone, my friend, it's not a basis to say you know the person. And this is where I want to round up. Distant relationship, it takes a lot. Even seeing the person and chatting with the person every day, we know the C-top. When you marry the person, you realize that you've married a totally different person. But just chatting with the person on phone, and you think you know the person enough. Just doing WhatsApp videos, you think you know the person enough to marry the person. This is one of the biggest mistakes people are doing here. This didn't happen to only the lady. There are men out here, and then they find somebody, and now especially on Facebook. Like the job I'm doing, my work, we are into fraud things because we help people to send money back home. And when you see the fraud activity going on, you'll be amazed. Nowadays, people just meet people on Facebook. They start chatting, and then they feel they've gotten a spouse. How can you possibly just marry somebody you met online? And I know it's not just outside. It's not just people living abroad, but even people living in their home country. Somebody might be living in Accra, will be WhatsApping somebody, Facebooking somebody in Kumasi. After 3 months, 6 months, we are in love, we are going to marry. How can you possibly marry like that? And then it's even worse for those living outside here. You go back home and marry this person and you bring the person here. I'm going to tell you 2 stories and then we'll break here. One of my aunties had a brother here like that. Met this lady online, started chatting, went back home, thought he has gotten the best, married this lady. Long story short, the man is dead. When the lady finally landed here, the things she did to this man. Because as I told you, when you travel here, this place is different. The freedom, the support you will get from police. So this lady got here, she was always complaining. The man does this, she will call police. Because don't forget, she has already gotten her papers. She will report the man to the police, frustrating the man. You think you are frustrated in Ghana, wherever you are. Travel outside and marry the worst person and you would see frustration. This man died out of pressure, out of frustration. Ask me where the lady is. She is doing so well. She's established. She's enjoying with her children. The man is dead. There's another story of a young guy who also met this lady, went back home, went to marry her, and brought her here. The lady came here and started schooling. It was this man who was taking care of her, paying her fees, everything. The lady started schooling. She completed her education. She started working, met friends. Now the friends were telling her, Oh, your husband can't buy you this type of car. What kind of car is this? What kind of this? Can't he do this for you? Can't he do this for you? The lady started frustrating the guy. And she even threatened that she was going to leave this man. So the man was like, I came back home to Ghana to marry you and I brought you to Canada. Now you want to leave me for another man. Guess what happened? He shot the lady and killed himself again. These are sad things that are happening. That's why I posted it on my page that traveling outside can be a blessing to you and your family. But when it comes to relationship, traveling outside may be the end. May be the end. Yeah, Kwachi, I say, hey, it's true. She came here threatening that she will leave the man. And the guy couldn't take it. He killed her and killed himself. It's like, pano, bibi asuntra, yenku yamune yenko. I posted something on my page the last time. I don't know how many of you watched it. But it was about this Nigerian man and his wife. The man killed the wife. Like, he killed the wife and was still insulting the body. Because he called the police to report himself. And when you listen to the man, the pain, you could literally feel the pain the man was talking with. Because according to the man, I brought you from Nigeria. I helped you go to school. I helped you. Now you are having, I think she was a nurse. You are having a vocation. You're doing well. And now you want to rub it in my face. Threatening the man. Reporting him to the police. Reporting that she would take her his property and everything. Long story short, the man killed the wife. He killed the wife and killed himself. By the time the police came, they were all dead. But my point is, why should this happen? Why should you travel outside and meet your demise? Is it because of selfishness on the part of the women? Why? What do we want? Somebody helps you to travel, and then you come back and that's how you want to pay them back. I know somebody will be watching me and say, why is Sarah stressing on this? But I'm telling you, this is what is happening. So if you are living outside already, and you're just going to marry randomly, you want to be careful. Make sure the lady you are going to marry or the man you are going back home to marry, you are so sure of this person. And embrace yourself when they come here. One advice I would give, when you travel outside, please find a Christian church to attend. If we're Muslim, make sure you are always going to the mosque. Why do I say this? If you travel outside and you want to live as a loner, you will destroy yourself. Because of the freedom and because of, nobody cares about you. Your life is in your hands. You literally do anything you want. But if you find a church, if you find a Christian home, it will become like, you'll get new friends. They will become your accountability partner. They will be with you. But if you travel and you want to be on your own, I know friends who are out here in Canada and in US and they don't want to, Baba, you're welcome. They don't want to associate with anybody. Most of the time, those people don't do well. If you come and you isolate yourself, you just want to be on your own. Things might happen to you, you will be surprised they're happening to you. But if you find a good church, if you find a good community of people and you join them, they will guide you. They will protect you. They will shield you. If you're having any difficulties, you can go to them. But the issue is that most people travel and they don't want to have anything to do with church. They don't want to have anything to do with religious bodies. Because back home, they feel you are being pressured to go to church. They feel that you are being pressured to, be part of a religious body. But when you travel, you realize that it's so important to be part of a religious body. It's so important. They will shield you. If your marriage is having a difficulty, they can pray with you. They can come and visit you and know what is going on. You want to be careful. Another thing is that when you travel outside, you want to be careful with the kind of friends you associate with. Today, I'm just giving a random advice. First one, if you travel or if your spouse travel, make sure they find a religious body. Make sure that they are part of a religious group. It will help them. 2, your kind of friends. I had a friend, whose boyfriend was living in another province in Canada. They started so well. This lady would go and visit him. Everything was good. Before they knew, this guy or this man started associating himself with some kind of friends who were taking him to the club and everything. Oh, the relationship did not last long. Because now anytime the lady goes to visit, the guy wants her to, he wants to have sex with her. He wants to take her to the strip club. The lady was like, what has come over you? And it's because of the friends. So your friends are very, very, very important. If you travel out, even when you're back home, right? The Bible says that bad company corrupts good behavior. If you travel outside and you're just hanging around with guys who are always going to the club, strip clubbing, they are chasing girls, they are drinking, you will forget about your wife. You will forget about your husband. So that is also very, very important. And then the third thing, when you travel, when you travel outside, the goal, if you're dating or if you are married, the goal is to bring your spouse. Next week I said I'll talk about papers. I know getting papers here is extremely difficult. I mean, if you are in Canada and you came as a student, it's quite easy. But if you travel to places like UK, places like US, I don't know about that. Even Norway is worse. It's so difficult to have your papers. But I'll tell you, my dear, if you travel for so many years and you are still not getting your papers and your spouse is home, do your best to maybe go back home. Gather some few dollars and go back home. That is if you are not able to bring your spouse. I mean, it doesn't make sense for you to live outside for 25 years, for 30 years, for 15 years without any plan to bring your spouse. Then you are literally destroying your home. You can't marry like this. I know people who have lived outside for years and their spouses are home. No plans of bringing them. What do you think you're doing with your marriage? It's better to say let's divorce than to keep the person waiting back home while you are up here enjoying. Then you'll be sending them some few dollars. We don't marry like that. One important thing about marriage is intimacy. Intimacy. So if you are married for 5 years, 6 years, 10 years, 12 years, 20 years and there's no intimacy, this one too is a marriage. This one too is a marriage. So please, if you are not getting your papers, if it's taking a while to get it, you want to be sure that you have plans of exit, of going back home to build your home. But if you can get papers for your spouse, please do all you can to bring your spouse along with you. It will protect you. It will shield you. Because the messing up, it will not take you anywhere. The last thing I want to say about those that travel here and now they are wondering, should I go back home and go and marry my girlfriend? Or should I go back home and bring my wife home? It's because they get free to people to mess up with outside here. Sleeping with different women. A friend of mine told me, he opened up and told me that, Sarah, when I came here, oh, the women, I enjoyed them. Different types of women. But it's not going to take you anywhere. Later, he realized I wasn't helping him. He had to go back and apologize to his girlfriend and marry her. So my dear, today I want to end here. I think I touched on several things. Several things when you're dating, when you're married. And the most important thing is going back home to marry somebody you don't know. Somebody you are just chatting on phone. You don't want to do that. It would really end up in tears. And you don't want to do that. One thing I want to talk about. Okay, so I think I have touched on everything that I wanted to touch on today. I told you today is serious. I don't want to go much into other things. But as time goes on, we'll be talking into serious things that are happening here. If you have stories about issues happening abroad with marriages, please kindly share with me so that I can also share with others. So that I can come here and talk. If you have an experience, please bring it up. If you have questions, please bring it out. One thing I want to say and then we run out. The concept of marriage outside here is different from the one we have back home. I remember when we were traveling, a friend of mine told me that, Sarah, as you are traveling to Canada, please remember that you were a Ghanaian. I didn't understand. I was like, why are you saying that? He says that you are traveling outside with your husband. Please remember that you were a Ghanaian. Don't go and marry like a foreigner. I didn't understand. But when I came here, I have understood it better. And I think I keep understanding it. The concept of marriage outside is different. Here, the whole concept of the two shall become one is not really, tangible. We don't hold on to that. We believe more in the individuals. It is your husband, it is you. So you see a lot of couples here, you hardly hear Mr. and Mrs. this. And for my Ghanaians who are here, you testify. The white people will not address you Mr. and Mrs. Amafo. No. They'll normally say Sarah, Norbert. They'll say Isaac, Lydia. They'll say this and that. They don't say Mr. and Mrs. this. So from the onset, it's like you are two separate individuals. And here, most in Africa and other countries, we believe in the submissiveness aspect, right? Wives, be submissive to your husband, blah. Here, it's not like that. We are equals. The man, the woman, they are all equal. That is what they believe out here. Okay? There's nothing like the wife should submit to the husband. For the worst part is, most men have to submit to their wives. Most people will tell you that when you travel outside, especially in Canada, the first person that comes is a child, children. After children, women. After women, dogs. After dogs, men. Like when I came here and I heard, it was so funny to me, but that's the truth. Children, women, animals or dogs before men. So here, they don't really give privilege to the men. No, not at all. Men are like the least at the bottom. So most men are really depressed when they travel. They are so depressed because everything is literally against them. And we, the women, are elevated. We are promoted. Even in marriage, women are elevated than the men. So when you travel here and then you get this concept, you feel like, well, there's my husband and I, we are equal. So there's no need for me to submit to him. When he says, I can say, I have money, he has money. We are two giants living in the house. And I tell you, if you come to this country with this concept, you are going to break your home. I didn't even plan on saying this, but I thank God he has brought this mindset. He has brought this thought. If you travel outside and you want to live like a foreigner, you want to live like our dear white people, some of them, you will destroy your home. Because to the African man or to the Asian man, the man is the head of the home. Please, let's face facts. I know that's what the Bible says, but most people here is different. But to a typical African man, to a typical Asian man, the man is the head of the home. And the head of the home doesn't mean that he's going to rule over you or control you or everything. But they want to be sure that you listen to them. You give them that respect as the head. So if you think that you are going to act like, oh, we are all equals, and then you talk anyhow, you will destroy your home. Because that black man, that Asian man is not going to tolerate that. And that is the problem most of we women are having when we travel outside. Immediately we get here, we think we are bosses. Now we begin to fight our husbands, talk to them anyhow. Like, I worked with a colleague and he told me that he came here with his wife, I think from the Philippines or something. Everything was okay. All of a sudden, the lady joined some groups and then she realized that, oh, we are all equals. I don't have to wash the dishes. I'm not saying you should wash the dishes every day. But we know that as Africans or Asians, it's the responsibility of the woman to make sure that these things are done. But this lady was like, no, we are equal. Today I cook, tomorrow you cook. Today I wash dishes, you wash dishes. That kind of typical whitish behavior. And I can tell you, not all white people do that. But that typical postmodern marriage, if you bring it to your home, you will destroy your home. Let us not come here and pick a culture that is not from back home. The men will not take it. And for most men, when they come here and you, the woman, you're acting like that, before you know, they have a side chick. Before you know, the marriage is breaking. So let's learn to be submissive. Don't come here and because you are earning a few dollars than your husband, you want to treat him like nothing. You want to treat him like nothing. I know a marriage that divorced because broke up because of this. The lady was earning more money than the husband. That was the end of the marriage. Why should it happen like that? The other one, the man was a student and the lady was the one working. You should see the treatments the man went through in his own home because he wasn't working, he was a student and the woman was working. Please, my dear women, traveling outside is not a ticket to heaven. Traveling outside doesn't mean you have rich. You are there. For you to be riding shoulders with your husband and treating them like, like nothing, because you know that when you call the police, they'll come and arrest him. That is what is happening. Next week, I have a lot to tell you. For some women here, if the man, says something they don't want, the next thing, they are calling the police on the husband. You'll be amazed. There was an announcement. In Canada, we have this emergency alert. You will be there and everybody's phone will start beeping. Emergency alert, emergency alert. What is the emergency alert? They are looking for a man to arrest him because he's taking his daughter out. And I'm like, what is this? The man is with his own daughter and now you want to arrest him. Apparently, the wife went to report that the man is irresponsible, he is not good, blah, 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 and they took the child away from him. So now the man has no right to his own daughter. It's crazy out here. One of our family members, that's okay from my husband's side, in Canada here, the wife reported him to the police. He got arrested. They seized his property and everything he owned. And this is a business. I don't want to go into this more because next week I want to talk about that. This is a business some women are doing here. They marry you, they take your property from you, they take your children from you, and then you start paying child support the rest of your days on earth here, outside. So what happened to this family member of mine? They took everything. They even prevented him having access to his own children. He had to go back home to Ghana. He had to start all over again. This man I'm talking about was an established man in Canada, owning his own house and businesses. His wife from Ghana, he went to bring the lady to Canada here. The lady managed to take everything from him and even seized him from having access to his children. He has to go back home. He went home with nothing. These things I'm telling you is real. It's real. The lady took away everything. I saw a video of a guy saying that most Philippines and the Asians, when they come here, they don't do that. They don't turn their backs on their husbands and rip them of everything. But we, the blacks, we Ghanaians, Nigerians, talk about African countries, we come here, we get some few dollars, we want to take everything from the man. So if you're a young man listening to me and you are planning on traveling, please, you need to put all these things to perspective. You need to sit down with your wife and talk. What is the kind of marriage we are going to have when we travel? Don't just be excited. Oh, I'm traveling. No. Is it going to be a blessing to your home? Or is it going to be the end? Is it going to bring distraction to your home? I've given you the things to do that can help you. Finding a church, a religious body, and being careful with your friends. I believe that with wisdom, with love, with oneness, we can make our marriages work out here. We can make it work. We don't have to live with a story that, Abrokyire, or when you travel outside, this is going to happen and everything is going to be destroyed. No, people are living good lives here. People are enjoying their marriages here. You can also enjoy. We just have to keep living in the spirit of humility. Be humble. If your husband is here or your wife is here and they lose a job, Bear in mind, there is no family member here. I don't have any family member here, apart from my husband and my children. My mother is not here. My father is not here. My siblings are not here. So all I have is my spouse and my children. Same for my husband. He has no other family member here but us. So why should I now turn my back on him? Why should he turn his back on us? Let's live in this unity. And then we can work against the forces that work against marriages and that stuff. And that's one more thing. The witches back home, when you travel here, I don't know whether they follow you, but even the forces in this town, it's enough to destroy your home. The pressure, work pressure. Here, people are working 4 jobs. They can hardly sleep. Like I know a couple, the man works during the day, the wife works during the night. So you ask yourself, what time do they get for themselves? For some people, the wife is working 2 jobs. The husband is also working 2 jobs. What time do they have for themselves? So if you are back home, I know things are difficult back home. But sometimes it's a luxury. Enjoy the moment. Thank God. If God gives you the opportunity to travel, thank God. But don't overstress yourself to travel. Don't overstress yourself to travel. Some people are doing everything to travel. Even if it means going for fake papers and everything just because they want to travel. If you get the opportunity, it's good. But if the opportunity is not coming, please enjoy your home. Because it's not easy at all living outside. It's not easy at all with the cold and everything. Like when I came here, I shared my story. My husband was working in a cinema, like Ghana National Theatre. About 10 of them in the night. This guy, like anytime I talk about this, I shed tears. This guy will wake up like 12 a.m. They will go to the cinema and clean the whole place, the popcorn, everything for about 3-4 hours. Ask me how much he was even paid 2 weeks for all the work. And then I was feeling so sorry for him. When he comes back home, sometimes all his hands are cut with all this, the things they're using to scrub the popcorn thing. I'm like, wow, Charlie. But he got to do it because we need to pay rent. Here, the rent we pay every month. Talk about the bills here. It's crazy, my dear. It's so difficult. But then, if the 2 of you work together, trusting God, God would promote you and make things better for you. But when you come here and then you divide and you're fighting against each other, and some people will be listening to family back home. The marriage people have back home in Ghana or Nigeria or whatever, it's different from the kind of marriage we have here. So you can't be here and you'll be listening to advice. Oh, do this, don't do this. I don't want to talk much because otherwise I'll end up talking about all the other things that I want to talk about next week. But I'm just ending here. Living outside is difficult. Living outside is not as easy as your home country because there are a lot of factors that play. So if God gives you the opportunity to travel and you are blessed to bring your spouse, please live together in unity. Don't let this blessing bring distraction on your home. And if God has blessed you to travel, please do all you can to bring your spouse and your family with you. If it is not working, if you've stayed here 10 years and you are not getting papers to bring your family here, please, it will be wise for you to go back home and join your family than to leave them and stay here alone. What will it profit you if you stay here for 30 years and lose your family, your children, and everything back home? Would you now go back after 50 years, 40 years, going to look for your wife and your children? Or you just want to ignore them and move on with your life? Let's not forget, everything we do, we pay for it. We will pay a price. We will be accountable. So if you have family back home, I don't know why I'm stressing this, but if you're watching me and you have family back home and you've decided to just ignore them and move on with your life and marry somebody else, you will pay for it. You will be held accountable for it. Go back home and go and marry your spouse. Bring them. If you can't bring them, go and stay with them. And God will bless you. Let us not think that it is only when you travel that you will do well. is an error. Don't think that it is only when I travel outside that I will do well. If God gives you the opportunity to travel, then He has a plans for you. He has plans for you. But if it's not happening, don't think that it is only when I travel that I will do well. You will do well if you are with your family. You will do well if you have the blessing of your spouse. You will do well if you have the support of your home. Amen. I can go on and on and on, but I'm going to end here. If you have stories, you can share with me so that we can all, discuss this into details and bless others. Join me next week. We will continue with Abrokyire and that form sa. But God is faithful and He's going to help all of us. Does anybody have a question? I'm ready to answer you. And you can also get in touch with me. My number is +432 500 6975. +432 500 6975. You can WhatsApp me and we can talk more. And if you are looking for an opportunity to travel, especially to Canada, please get in touch with me. There are so many opportunities out here. There are so many ways to travel. Maybe God has plans for you to travel. So get in touch with me. Let's see how we can help you. I have a friend who is helping people to travel to UK. So get in touch with me if you want to travel to UK. Get in touch with me if you want to travel to Canada. And I'll show you the options. I would link you to the right people. Because living outside is also good. It's difficult, but it's a big blessing. God bless you and take care. Please share this video and help others. This video might help to save somebody's marriage, somebody who is struggling with their marriage. Thank you for joining and bye. Love you all. Thank you.